Yo, what's going on, guys? It is Foxy98 here. Welcome back to a brand new video for you guys today here on the channel. Today, we are here for Season 2 of my F1 2020 My Team Career Mode here with Force Career. Now, if you end up enjoying today's video, feel free to drop it a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here as well, as we try and make our push towards 20,000 subscribers. And first things first then, we're going through and we're just going through all of the team details and getting started. So start things off then, we need to pick our primary sponsor. Now, last time I picked Shark to just earn 5 Constructors points in a season, and basically I was able to smash that target. We had like over 200 points, so I wanted to obviously pick a new one and pick something a little bit harder. So we've got a few in mind. Now, I decided to go with this one here, Emblem, the elephant, basically, because it requires 100 Constructors points. Now, the next highest one is 300, and I don't know if we can get 300 in a season. We might do quite easily, but I thought, let's go with 100. Now, power unit-wise, Mercedes have got the most expensive power unit at 3.7 mil. However, Renault has 3.5 mil, but they've got maximum performance, but they are still lacking on the durability side. So I was debating between whether to swap to Renault or stick with my Mercedes-Benz power unit. In the end, I decided to stick with the Mercedes power unit, mainly because, of course, it's still not going to be the fastest in a straight line compared to the Renault. But at the end of the day, it does mean that we've got a little bit of a challenge to try and catch up with Renault in general. As you can see, I've got all my liveries that I've got at the moment currently. If there's any of those that you did like, feel free to pause the video and go back and watch them, and maybe I'll change it to that one in the near future. But for now, I'm going to be sticking with the same livery as I have been running, mainly because I think it's just a really, really beautiful livery. So I'm going to just stick by it. Next up now, we're going to be having a look at our emblem. Of course, we want to try and potentially change up our badge and or you know, our team badge. And that's what we're going to be doing. Obviously, I am on Xbox doing this, so obviously on PC I could have modded the thing, but I haven't quite got the game on PC yet. So I was having a look at different things to do. I basically wanted an emblem, an update basically. The same one that we've got, but just a little bit updated. So just make it stand out a little bit more. So I was going through here and just having a look at some of the ideas that I was going to have in mind. So initially, as you can see here, which I'm working on right now, is that I wanted to go with the emblem itself and not have the background in it. And then I decided, actually, maybe it would look better with the background that we had on. So I go down to find my, one downwards like that. And then I thought, well, hang on a minute, I can actually make that background piece pop out as well. And overall, it actually just looked really, really nice. So what I decided to do then was go ahead and create that background again. And then in terms of my emblem, I then go ahead and change it back up again so that this is in the red, as you can see here, making it nice and dark. And then the main piece there was in white. So as you can see, that is now going to be our new emblem, or team badge, shall I say. And then eventually I change that. So there we go. We've got a nice new updated team badge now. It just stands out a lot more and it looks a lot more cooler. I love that type of styling. So yeah, obviously we decided to pick that one. And now as you can see, we're going into the calendar sheet. Where we can go ahead and get some preparation done ready for the season itself. As you can see, we've got a lot of stuff that we can do. We could do a big upgrade there for the driver training camp. We've got aero and chassis focus, but crucially, all of this stuff actually can increase the performance of our pieces by, good old 50% there. So, yeah, it was really cool with that. Obviously, the high cash balance in there, and obviously the driver retirement as well of Romain Grosjean. Now what we're going to do is we've got £50 million in our back pocket, just saved up. And now we're going to go on a massive spending spree. So here we go. We're going to put the aerodynamics to spec 2 with the build time. The chassis, we're going to put that up to spec 2 with some extra resource points. Durability, once again, I want some resource points because we're going to be looking to upgrade the car heavily this year. The simulator-wise, I decide to go ahead and upgrade the fitness center. The powertrain, I'm then going to go ahead and add some more resource points, or I might go with build time actually, or quality control. So yeah, quality control on that to allow less failure on the car. And I believe that's where I stuck at the moment, but we've now got 4,200 resource points to spend. So we're going to straight away go with 2 upgrades for the power unit. Then over to the chassis, we're going to go ahead and increase the chassis with a slight weight reduction upgrade in there. Unfortunately, it wouldn't let me do any more chassis upgrades on there. And then in terms of the drag, I decided to do a barge board drag drag reduction upgrade. And then over on the durability, I'm then going to upgrade nothing because I don't think I even did. I can't remember what I did, to be honest. I might do, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and do a turbo durability upgrade because we still have the worst durability by quite some distance. Whoops-a-daisy. And as you can see, we still have 28 million, plus then the 1,000 resource points. So we're definitely going to be doing some more upgrades very, very shortly. But for now, we're going to be going through, stacking up all of our resource points, getting some aero and chassis focus done, and then a whole bunch of stuff going into the way. And then we've got our car reveal. Now, of course, I did make a mistake for this episode. Obviously, we got new sponsors on the car, but I forgot to put them on. So it's only, I think, my AF sponsor that's on the car because that's the only sponsor that I've renewed my contract with. The other two sponsors I actually got brand new. So yeah, for this episode, it's just going to be our Elephant and AF. As you can see, the badge looks so nice there on the front of the car. I really like it, actually. But there we go. There is the car reveal, of course. It is still looking as sexy as per usual. And as you can see, I've got my boy telling me about bare new things. So I saw that I still had 29 mil. So I was like, well, hang on a minute. Let's just do some work then. Let's just splash loads of cash, because why not? So I decided to go ahead and increase the analysis suite to allow the second driver to get more resource points for us for Sergio Perez, which would be key. 15 million for sponsor relations. God damn, you want a little bit there. As you can see, obviously with us having new areas, you can see we've now got brand new HQ facilities. And I was like, oh, hang on a second, I've got some new stuff. So we've now got a proper wind tunnel in for this season. So we're going to go ahead and re-increase the quality control on that front. Chassis as well, you'll be able to see in just a second. So powertrain, you can see we've got a little bit more elements in there. Chassis again as well, we've got some new components and some upgrades on that front. We go with the fabrication on there. Durability as well, again, we've got our car doing what looks like on some planks there, I guess, testing out the suspension of the car over the bumps. So yeah, overall, our facilities are looking really, really nice. We've got some big upgrades, and we've just gone on a £40 million spending spree. What you saying? However, what I am saying as well is bugger, because we've had a few upgrades that have come onto the car and a few that have failed. So let's go and have a look at what came on and what didn't. So first things first, the drag reduction upgrade did fail for this episode, which does mean it's going to have to go onto the car for Bahrain. Same with the engine upgrade as well. That did fail, which is a bit of a pain. We are going to go ahead and put the crankshaft upgrade on. Now, crucially, now that our car is at Spec 2, these facilities are at Spec 2, we can now do what's called rush upgrades, which means that you can force the car to have, you can force your upgrades to go onto the car quicker. However, it does mean that you are then going to have a higher chance of failure. So if you're going to do rush upgrades, I would recommend making sure that you've got your quality control very high up. So it means that your rush upgrades are not going to be a complete waste of time, because once they fail, you're then going to have to spend even more time and resource points, crucially, going through and making all of those adjustments in there. So I was pretty much happy with everything that we've just done.
Right, welcome back. It's going to be one heck of a season, I think. To be honest, I don't think we've done the best job maintaining our performance through this regulation change. So we're going to be playing a bit of catch-up this year. We're counting on you, but you've got the whole team behind you.
I mean, what do you expect? I own the team. If you're not behind me, I'll sack you. It's as simple as that. Yeah, unfortunately, though, big up Sergio Perez, my boy over there. Yeah, unfortunately, according to our engineer, Carl, we've not done a great job with the regulation change. Bearing in mind that the regulation change was durability, and all I'd done was 2 durability upgrades throughout the entirety of last season. I just took performance as a priority. I always do that with my career modes. I always prioritize performance. I don't really care about durability. I just want to get the best performances out there instantaneously, and we can take the grid penalties when we need to, if necessary. But yeah, I mean, I guess you could say that we didn't do too well because we had durability pieces that just, you know, I mean, I saved the 2 pieces that we had, but I guess, you know, we needed to potentially do a little bit more, but that's completely fine. As we're going to load ourselves in now to the laptop in due time and get on with the session. So here we go then, into the laptop now. And as you can see, Jeff there, really, really happy to be back with us today. And you can see Carl there, once again, saying that we've got a high cash balance. I think that was an old message, though. And Roman Grosjean with the retirement. Now, crucially, it didn't actually send us an email about who transferred in this driver transfer window. Don't panic. I do go ahead and show you very, very shortly all of the driver transfers. Engine side, we're around about mid-table, which is not too bad. And I was having a look to see when the next set of Mercedes upgrades are going to come on automatically. So that's where we're pretty much just planning on where we want to go on the engine side. Chassis area, we're again slap bang in the middle, pretty much the same as we are for the power unit. And I was pretty much debating where do I fancy going on that side. Aerodynamics were again also bang in the middle. I think with the 6th fastest car on that front, and I was aiming pretty much seeing where we wanted to go on that front. Durability was stone dead last. We've got a hell of a lot of upgrades on the way. We just need to be patient and let this go on. So in due time, as soon as I actually understand what I'm doing in the laptop, I'll go ahead and showcase those pieces as well. And at the end of practice here, we're going to go ahead and make some more upgrades. Now, this portion of the video, for some reason, there was absolutely no sound. It is literally for less than a minute, so don't panic on that front. But we completed practice, which does mean that we've now got 1,700 resource points in my back pocket, and I can go ahead and potentially make an upgrade that I want to. And I decided to go ahead and make a front wing end plates downforce upgrade. There's 26% chance of it failing. It's quite low, so we should be okay to have that onto the car. And you can see if we get that upgrade, it's really going to power us along very nicely in the aerodynamics. I just feel like the two most important things for me personally is powertrain and aerodynamics. And as you can see now, we're going to go over to the standings and have a look at all the transfers. So first things first then, Kevin Magnussen actually transferred from Haas to Racing Point. Jack Aiken, my former teammate, moved to Haas alongside George Russell, who's also gone to Haas. Jordan King has then come into Formula 1 to join into the fray. So we've got a brand new F2 driver now in the series, which is really, really cool to see. But my qualifying didn't start off brilliantly. As you can see, we've got a sensor fault, which does mean that we're going to be stuck in the garage for a couple of minutes. But it's only like 2 or 3 minutes, so it's not the end of the world there. In towards our qualifying lap now, we're coming around and we're completing our second run on the same set of tyres, as I didn't quite feel happy with my first initial lap time. And we crossed the start-finish line to go P14, which was not too bad to start with, but I know that we could definitely do a little bit better than that if we so wish to. And obviously we're going to need to, because we're currently right on the bubble here of being knocked out in Q1. So we need to get this lap in. Perez also needs to get a lap in. Otherwise, he's going to be out of Q1 as we now go towards the start-finish line here. We found ourselves 0.3 of a second. Giovinazzi, who's is in P14, is only 1/10 of a second clear of us. So we're going to shoot up the order with this lap time. We do enough to get through into Q2. It's going to be P12 on the road. Unfortunately for Sergio Perez, his debut for the team has not started very, very well, as he is going to be knocked out in Q1, which is not a good thing for us here today. We definitely needed Sergio to be a little bit higher up, especially with all of the money that we've spent on him. So we are going to be monitoring you very, very closely, Sergio. And if we see any more of what we've just seen there, unfortunately, it's not going to be the end. It's not going to be the best idea there. But as you can see, we do get through P12. Sergio Perez was half a second behind us, and unfortunately doesn't make it out of Q1. Unfortunately, obviously, hopefully as we go through the season, this Force career car is going to get a lot of upgrades on it, so we should be okay. It's Q2 now, and this was actually a lap on a scrub set of tyres, and Vettel, you see here right behind me. Throughout the entirety of this lap, Vettel continuously tried to overtake me at different points, so I pretty much, just gave him a little bit of a warning there as to, you know what, mate, just get the hell out of my way, stop being a knob. Now, Q2, the final lap, here we go. And we're now coming towards the start-finish line here, trying to blast it down the start-finish right now. Let's see what lap time we can do here. It's going to be a 1 minute 19.8 as we cross the start-finish line. And that's only good enough for P12, so it does mean that we're not going to make it out of Q2, and we failed to get into Q3. But it's not the end of the world for us. P12 is a decent starting place nonetheless. Australia, normally a very, very weak track for me. To be honest, it's because I don't race around there very often at all, to be honest. So unfortunately, it's not the best. Again, we still managed to maintain a very balanced performance there of 0.8 of a second off pole position. But this time around, it was only good enough for P12, which is a little bit of a shame. But you know, it is what it is. Now, as you can see, we're going to have our interview with Claire, and she's going to let us know that we need a new rival. So in all of this, I was like, nah, I'm not picking any of those guys. I'm picking Verstappen. You know, it's a very, very sensible option there. In terms of leading some body work out there, I didn't. Shut up. So we're going to just get away with that and leave it to it. In terms of our rivalry then, so Verstappen then takes the lead 2-1 after qualifying. He out-qualifies us in this session. And obviously in terms of the team acclaim, apparently there was a bug that meant that the team acclaim would go down no matter what in practice and qualifying. Apparently that was a thing. I didn't know it was, but it seems to have fixed because we seem to just be going upwards now. So let's get straight into the race.
Through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Valtteri Bottas lines up on pole position and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Ricciardo, Sebastian Vettel and Stroll. Magnussen, Ocon, Verstappen, and Alexander Albon, Sainz, Thomas, Lando Norris, and Giovinazzi, Gasly, Kvyat, Sergio Perez, and George Russell, Raikkonen, Aitken, King, and Nicholas Latifi. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track and get this Grand Prix underway.
Okay then guys, so we're going to be onto the grid now here for the start of the Australian Grand Prix and the start of Season 2 of F1 2020, my team. And as you can see, it's going to be a one-stop strategy from the soft tyres to the hard compound tyres, which kind of put my strategy out the window. I was hoping that the front runners would have to do a two-stop and then I would be able to get through on a one-stop, but that's not going to be the case. We're going to have to improvise and try and basically go all-out aggressive on the circuit, which is completely fine. I'm cool with doing that. And I was just quickly having a look at my Parc Ferme because of the setup that I was running. I went ahead and copied Tom97HD setup from his videos that he's been doing recently. I wanted to change it because I wasn't happy with it, but we're going to have to just run with it because it's Parc Ferme obviously, and it's 5 lights now, and it's lights out, and we go here to start Season 2 of my team. So let's get straight back to action as we get a good start off the line here. Bottas flies off the line then as they literally wiggle their way through towards turn 1 there, but we go diving down the inside on a couple of cars there actually. We got past both Racing Points and also Albon in there, so P12, I think we're up to like P6 or P5 actually now, as we make our way now down in towards the hairpin here, as Sebastian Vettel is literally lurking at the back of Ricciardo, and also, Vettel's got a little bit wide there, given a free position there, so Bottas leads Hamilton, Leclerc, Ricciardo, ourselves, so we're up into 5th place now. After the start, we started in P12, we've flown up the order then, 7 places gained already. I love the starts of Grand Prix because you could just fly through, and crucially as we start lap 5 of the Grand Prix, there's a little bit of a DRS train going on between Leclerc, Ricciardo, myself and Vettel, and crucially that's just allowing us to pull away from the Racing Points behind. So race pace starting to go well, but unfortunately you'll be able to see it on the mini-map there because I've got the full map on now. The person that's all the way down at the back, just entering the sector 3 as we get very close to the back of Ricciardo's rear wing, is my teammate Sergio Perez. Unfortunately, he took some damage at the start of the Grand Prix and had to make a stop as the back end slides a little bit there. And again, a bit of understeer going forward here, a bit of a scruffy first sector, but we can get away with it. And yeah, unfortunately for Sergio, it's going to get even worse because we've got a yellow flag down at the just at the exit of the turn 12 chicane there, and it is my teammate Perez that has had an awful debut for Force career. I feel really bad for him actually, but he unfortunately had an incident on the first lap which meant that he had to make a pit stop, and unfortunately he's pulled the car over, maybe because it's just too much to do in this stage of the Grand Prix from so far back, but real big shame there for my teammate. Hopefully we can have it bounce back in Bahrain. Lap 9 of the Grand Prix now, and Ricciardo makes his way into the pit lane as that everyone's going to be going for a 1-lap undercut for the hard compound tyres. But what I've done, as you can see in the bottom right, is I've saved up plenty of ERS and also some fuel because the hard compound tyres are going to take a lot longer to warm up, and sometimes worn out soft tyres like we've got on right now are going to be faster than those fresh hard compound tyres because they've just got pretty much the same, they feel like they've got the same amount of grip. So we're going for an overcut here, and crucially I've got DRS on Leclerc, so I'm able to stick with him in towards this final sector. You can see that I'm not exactly letting Leclerc blast off into the distance here. I'm still within DRS range of the Ferrari driver, so pace is very, very strong at this stage of the Grand Prix. Now as we go in towards the pit lane here, let's see what we can do versus Charles Leclerc as we blast our way now in towards the pit lane here and get nice and close to the Ferrari driver. But crucially, look at the Racing Point and the Renault in behind now. So as we're coming in towards the pits, here's Leclerc now stopping onto the hard compound tyres, and this is what he was going to be worried about because he's going to have to wait for a whole lot of traffic to go on through there. That's a Racing Point, a Red Bull, and also a McLaren that's in the way. And just up ahead there is myself coming out of the pits now. Unfortunately, a bit of a pit lane glitch there, as we've seen plenty more times before. But we've not only jumped Charles Leclerc in the pits, but we've done the overcut on Vettel and Ricciardo. It's worked perfectly for us in this Grand Prix. So Sebastian Vettel and Daniel Ricciardo, both who stopped a lap earlier, it didn't work out for them. We've got DRS as well to cover ourselves from the Aussie man, and that is a beautifully worked bit of strategical play there from ourselves to make sure that we not only get in front of Charles Leclerc via my boys in the pit stop, shout out my pit stop crew, but also Vettel and Ricciardo. The overcut was the right choice, and that is perfect for us. Lap 17, bit wide there on the curb. We probably didn't want to go all the way out there, but Bottas now has made his second stop of the Grand Prix, so Valtteri is the only man in the front of the top runners to go and do a 2-stop strategy, and he drops all the way down the order, which promotes us now into a net P2. So for the remaining 12 laps of this Grand Prix, all I've got to do is go ultra defensive on these guys, and Ricciardo gets a great run here with a DRS. Of course, that Renault, we know, is going to be deadly in a straight line, but all I've got to do is just be quick in the areas that I know I'm quick, and I should be okay. But that does depend on what these guys have got up their sleeves. Later on into that lap, we've got another yellow flag here, so someone else is going slowly. Looks like one of the racing points is going slowly. So that's going to be either Magnussen or Lance Stroll that's going to have a little bit of a problem as we go through in towards the middle sector now. And it's Lance Stroll who is out of this session. So bad luck there for the Canadian driver, as his is actually different to Perez. Perez was a mechanical failure. Lance is a full-blown engine failure. So that's worrying for the Mercedes-Benz power units, for Mercedes-Benz in general, if he's had an engine blowout after one race. Lap 24 of the Grand Prix now, and once again, we are still holding very firm against the Australian man of Daniel Ricciardo, but Daniel here has caught me by surprise, actually, opening up the inside line there for myself to try and defend the position, but Ricciardo then literally used plenty of ERS and fuel. I didn't use any on that straight. I've never had to, at any stage of this Grand Prix, needed to use ERS or fuel at that specific corner, and Ricciardo fancied a run on me then and was very, very lucky to stay in front then. So now that he's done that to me, that has pretty much opened my eyes as to, right, I need to be very, very careful now, and I have to use ERS in the exit of turn 12 chicane because Ricciardo fancies a run. But in towards turn 1, we go super deep into the corner, wheels on the grass then. Ricciardo now is going to try and have a look at this, but we actually cover that one quite nicely. Don't really lose as much time as I thought, but Ricciardo and Vettel going to make it 3 wide now in towards turn 3, but we're going to go down the inside here. Ricciardo hold them the line there and just shove the drivers wide, and that allows Ricciardo and Vettel to fight against each other, and Leclerc as well now. So the 3 of those can have a little bit of a scrap, and I can just set my time to recover a little bit, get that ERS and fuel back up into standard mixtures that I want them in, and we go again versus those guys as we get a huge back end slide there as in towards the latter stages of the stint. What I was noticing as well when I was running this setup, no disrespect to Tom Knight's own HG, he's done a cracking job making his setup videos, and loads of people benefit from them. It just happened to be that it just wasn't my style. As you can see, the back end stepping out ever so slightly. Yeah, his setups, I don't know, they just felt a little bit more sensitive for the rear of the car. I'm quite aggressive on turn-in. That's something that doesn't suit this setup for me personally anyway, and especially at the end of the stint. I just wasn't able to lean on the car any way that I do with my own setups. So in future, I am going to go back to my own setups. I fancy trying it, you know. He's really quick driver. So I thought, you know what, let me have a look at this setup. Let me just go for a race and see how it goes. But unfortunately, it's just not quite for me. I just didn't feel like I could lean on the car. But still, taking that aside, Lewis Hamilton wins the opening round of the season. But for us, though, we played that race absolutely perfectly, and we're going to come across the start-finish line to seal second place at the Australian Grand Prix. That was thanks to a perfectly managed and executed Grand Prix, not only for myself, but also from the team. We got the job done on the start. We get driver of the day as well. Shout out to myself for getting driver of the day. I always deserve that, no matter where I start and finish. But yeah, the team did a great job. All round, you know, we got a beautiful start, went from 12th to 5th, which was magnificent, going down the inside of a bunch of cars in turn 1 and also to overtaking Vettel. In the stage when we were on the soft compound tyres, we had enough pace to stick in the DRS of Ricciardo and Charles Leclerc. Crucially then, as soon as Ricciardo and Vettel were coming in, I was so close to responding to the pair of them and getting in. But I thought to myself, well, no, they're going onto the hard compound tyres. I'm staying on my soft tyres. My soft tyres may be worn out, but as soon as you do that first lap on the hard compound tyres that are cold versus the soft compound tyres that are worn out, you actually can get a bit, it's pretty much balanced, if not slightly favourable to the guys on the soft tyres. So I said, you know what, I'll stay out on my tyres. We then had a great pit stop. Obviously, Leclerc got held by the other cars that were in range. And I knew that as well. I saw that Stroll and Perez, or whoever it was out there, was still only about 3.5 seconds back. And by the time we come into the pits, they would hold up Leclerc. And obviously, me being at the end of the pit lane, had the advantage of that. And then as soon as we jumped the rest, Bottas came in for a second stop. We were just quick where we needed to be quick. Job done. P2. Beautifully executed Grand Prix there. Standings now, obviously, I'm not going to bother showing the Drivers' Championship because you know where everything is. Constructors' Championship, we are second in the Championship in there as well. And as you can see now, we've got a quick little press conference with Claire. And as you can see now, in terms of struggling with the traffic, I didn't have any. So I was in front most of the time. So no, I just had more grip. I don't know why I picked grip because I was literally struggling for grip all race long with the setup. So that was a bit of a white lie. I wanted to go with power unit really, more than anything else. So I decided to just go ahead and praise areas of the car that were actually poor on the morale section. I think only the powertrain had good morale for some reason, so I just decided to lie and just boost the morale of areas that didn't have it, so we could get a little bit of a benefit from them. In terms of the team acclaim then, we still actually go up in the team acclaim, despite the fact that Sergio Perez unfortunately failed to score any points today. He had an awful race weekend, so hopefully we can have him bounce back for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Unfortunately, in terms of our sponsors, we managed to get the 2 fastest laps in any session, but we didn't unfortunately get into Q3, which is a bit of a shame there. As you can see though, damage deductions, we lost 5k, Perez lost 10k, but we're back up to £13.8 million. And I don't believe I do it in this episode, but next episode I'm going to be going ahead and probably making some more upgrades to the facilities, because we're getting a lot more investments coming in now per week than what we did when we first started, when we were only getting, you know, one sponsor. This time we've now got 3 sponsors coming in, so we're, instead of earning like 200k a week, something like that, we're earning like 1.2 mil a week if we can get it all spot on. So really, we can afford to be a little bit more aggressive now with the development, and this is the season now where you can really see full-on advancements. As oh, surprise, surprise, we've had a failure on one of our upgrades. That's fantastic. I'm so happy for that. It is unfortunately for durability. What a surprise, because I actually kind of need it on the car. You can see how far back we are. We'll make sure that's done onto the car. Speaking of durability, I thought I'd actually give it a little bit of attention, so I'm going to go ahead and do another upgrade on the durability. Even if I did a standard upgrade, it would still nearly fail by 40%, so yeah, I probably should go ahead and do some quality control upgrades in the facilities for that, just to stop that from happening. But we're going to go ahead and give the durability a bit of love. Now, lastly, I was asked in the Brazilian Grand Prix about my driver perks. I did go ahead, and as you can see, I have purchased perks, but I never showed them on camera. So now I'm going ahead and showing you on camera. So every single perk that I've got is now going up to level 2. And until I hit, I think it's driver acclaim level 15, I can go ahead and put those up to number 3. Perez has got 1 perk for like the other sections there, so that is going to be it. But now what we're going to do is quickly go ahead and put the sponsors onto the car that we forgot to do for this race, just to make the car look a little bit more sexual. And as you can see, we're going to start off with Sudu on the top of the engine cover there. I really like it being in that position. We're going to go with Laguna over on the side there. We've got AF on the rear wing and also on the front of the car, and then we're going to go ahead and put Sudu on that little rear piece of the car. Now the car looks a little bit more sexy and has got some sponsors on it, so it kind of works out well. I really love the look of this car with the bit of purple, red, the blue and black and white. It just looks like it just looks It's perfect. But anyway, guys, that is going to wrap it up for today's episode of my F1 2020 My Team Career Mode for you guys today here at the Australian Grand Prix. If you guys have enjoyed it, feel free to drop it a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here as well, as we try and make our way towards 20,000 subscribers. Heading in towards this weekend, I decided to go ahead and do a podium celebration party and a driver promotion filming. And as you can see, crucially as well, we have got an upgrade for the drag reduction for the barge boards coming for the Bahrain Grand Prix, which is absolutely awesome. So it does mean that we're going to be able to be a little bit quicker in a straight line with less drag on the car. But for now, guys, that does mean that we could do some more drag upgrades in DRS in the future. But for now, I'm out. Take care all. Peace.